Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track.
Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today is Kay McDonald. And she comes from a long way away, and I'm going to let her tell you where that is. But Abby, I'm so glad we could connect and have you on the show today. So why don't you start out by just sharing a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Melinda. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for making these opportunities possible. I'm Abby Kay McDonald. I'm 29 and I live in the Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia. I have two siblings. I've got an older brother who actually lives in Missouri and a younger sister who lives in Cairns, also in Queensland. I was originally born in Victoria, but I've grown up in Cairns and now sort of parked my way. If you're familiar with the east coast of Australia, I've kind of found the middle ground, which is where most of our racetracks are in our really good weather. We've got a couple pets. We were wildlife rehabilitators growing up, so we had all different kinds of wild pets. But at the moment, we have two dogs. One is mine named Oreo, and we've got another little dog called Daisy. And I just love animals, music, cars, everything, bit of a thrill seeker. And I come from a family of thrill seekers as well.
Okay, that's exciting. So you're following in your family's footsteps by maintaining the pets and the cars and thrill seeking. I can't wait to hear more about that. So why don't you start by telling us then, how did you get interested? Obviously through your family, but how did you first decide motorsports was something you were interested in?
Well, funnily enough, I come from a big family of aviation. So we have lots of pilots in our background and they're very much dominating the skies. I do enjoy flying. However, I was always interested in the ground. I liked speed on the ground. And it started really with just growing up watching racing with my dad, with my family. We have a race in Australia called Bathurst, which is part of the Supercars series, which is just the biggest race, I guess, in Australia. That was bigger than Christmas for us, watching Bathurst every year. It was the holiday.
Okay.
I grew up always watching all the racing on TV. I loved cars. I spent my teenage years just every chance I could get researching cars and planning out all my future projects that I was going to work on. We never really had an opportunity to race ourselves, but the passion was always there and the interest was always there. I said, everyone else can have the skies and I'm going to take the streets. That'll be mine. So it was just a progression of loving it from I don't remember a specific point when I really loved it. The first recollection would probably be at an air show. My dad was flying. He was doing some stunt piloting and they had a car show attached and I was glued to the car show side of it. I thought, oh, that's great. They're doing aerobatics in the sky, but look at this Cadillac. So...
And everybody else was taken with all the things going on in the air. And you're like, hey, I've seen that 100 times. I'm going to take a look at cars. Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. So, tell me from there when that started to where you are now. What's been the story? What's been the progress?
It was a little bit of an unconventional entry to motorsport. I didn't really get started in karting or anything of the likes. We probably didn't have the funds really to do that as a family. However, we did make a family friend who was very passionate in motorsports and was that way inclined. My sister started racing go-karts and he had a company that was able to sponsor her into that race. So I used to go support her races and watch her all the time. She's pardon me. She's a fantastic driver as well. And I used to go watch all of her races. And there was a time when they had a test day booked for the track, and there was a bunch of the go-kart drivers out there having a go. And they all took a break. And I said, do you mind if I take your kart out for a little whirl around? I just want to get out there. So I jumped in the cart, went for a ride, and I came back, and everyone was kind of watching me, and they were like, do you know how fast you were going out there? They were like, you were pulling some really good times. And I was like, I was just having fun. And from that, the family friend that we had was determined to get me into a car, and he took me to my first ever drag race. He took our whole family. I'd never seen drag racing before in my life, and I was just mind blown at this sport, the engineering and the science behind it, the speed. I was taken straight away. And within a year, we spent so much time looking at cars together and watching all of the drag races from that point. And I came home one afternoon. He said, what do you think of this car? And I was like, oh, it's beautiful. We used to watch cars all together. So we'd always talk about how magnificent cars were. And he goes, I'm so glad you like it. I've bought it for you. And amazing. Tears. Just
I'm sure.
Amazing. That never happens, right? And
No.
me and my sister shared that car, and we both got the opportunity to race, and progressively now we do run our own cars, and he actually races as well. So we have a bit of a team.
Okay. So there's 3 of you on the team. He's the team owner, I would assume, and you and your sister race. And what is her name?
Olivia McDonald. She doesn't race anymore. She's actually taken into spearfishing and the game fishing boat side of things. So now we've got my brother's in the air, I'm on the ground, and she's in the sea. So
wow,
we've all got our domains.
You've got it all covered, don't you? That's very cool, Abby. That's very cool. So what is your favorite thing about getting into the motorsports world?
I mean, aside from the absolute thrill and rush and just undescribable feeling of being in a car, is the community. The community has been so welcoming. The people, your fellow racers and your teammates, it's a different kind of love. It's a different kind of sport and environment and community that I've never been a part of until this point. And I love them all. Yeah,
absolutely. That's something that I hear over and over again. And it's just so true. So true. So tell me about your car. Let's go back to that a little bit. Tell me about the car. What series, what do you race? What series, what color, all the details about your car.
So the first car I licensed in was a LX hatchback Tirana, and that was in the super sedan drag racing category. That was the car that then my sister went on to race more regularly, and I then stepped into a rear engine dragster, which had a small block Chevy in it. That car I raced for about 2 years, and 2.5 maybe, and it would run consistent 8.5 seconds up the quarter. And from that point, about 2 years ago, we've moved up a peg and we've gone into a front engine dragster now, which races in the modified category, which I'm not sure if modified is NHR. I think it might be Super Comp. But I race now in modified in Australia under IHRA, and that car runs consistent 7.5s. So that's what I'm in for the moment, and it's got a 556 big block in it. It's a big engine, naturally aspirated, but a lot of engine.
Yeah, a lot of engine. That's very cool. And what color is it?
It's blue, the most beautiful blue. It's gorgeous. The previous owner painted it that color, and he had a local man from Brisbane his name's Kane. He did pinstriping, hand-done pinstriping all over it to kind of mimic the aerodynamics of the car. So it looks like wind kind of blowing up the side of the paintwork, and it's beautiful.
I bet.
My racing brand myself, I do a lot of pink. I love advocating the pink for the girls, but I couldn't bring myself to paint over that artwork. It's so beautiful. So it's staying blue. It's staying traditional.
Absolutely. That sounds beautiful. And what is your number?
My race number is 7,200.
Okay.
Which doesn't have a whole lot of significance to it, except for the fact that my friend who races, the one who now sponsors me, Mick Newport Contracting, he is 7199, and my sister is 7198. So we have the three numbers in
Okay.
unison. Yeah,
Okay.
consecutive.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. And so do you have, like, when you go to races at the track, do you have a crew that helps you? Is it, your sister, your friend, who helps you at the racetrack on race day?
Well, usually my Mick and I will race at the same time. We go to the same races because we are in separate categories. So luckily, we usually get called up at different times and we jump into pit crew for each other where we can.
Okay.
However, sometimes it is back to back, and we have local friends and family, people that we've met through the community, anyone who's available. It does rotate a bit because obviously racing can be very regular at times. It can be very irregular.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on who's available. But we've got a really solid network of people that understand both of the cars and they're willing to jump in, get hands-on. The family, unfortunately, lives in Cairns, which is the top of Queensland, and I'm at the bottom of Queensland. Mm-hmm. So they can't come all the time, but they definitely try their best to come to the big ones for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have a home track that you race at the most, or do you travel around?
Yeah, I've got a home track, Willowbank Raceway, which is in Ipswich near Brisbane. It's a fantastic track. They've got the Green Army there, who were the ones that licensed me originally, and now I race with them religiously.
Okay.
I do travel around Australia as much as I can. At the moment, we're updating our trailers that we use to tow the cars because Australia's a big country and there's a lot of travel to get from track to track, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we need a really good trailer. But I've gone to Sydney so far and Warwick. However, I'm planning this year to also do the Bend and a little bit more down on the bottom south of Australia. Yeah.
Is there a track that's on your bucket list that you hope to someday get to race at?
Definitely the Bend. The Bend is a facility that's only been open for a few years, and apparently it's just fantastic.
Okay.
I really want to get there. And Townsville is about to open a new drag strip as well, which is further up north near where my family live. Okay. So that'll be an amazing track to get to. Yeah. There is a track in Darwin, which is the very tippy top of Australia. And that track runs a nitro. Oh, I've forgotten the name of the event now, but they run an annual huge nitro event that happens in conjunction with the Supercars series. Okay. And I think that the merge of those two events would be huge. And I haven't been able to get up there yet, but that's on bucket list too. So I've got a few.
Yeah, got a few. And you're so young. You've got plenty of time to get all those taken care of for sure.
That's the plan.
Yeah. So do you have marketing partners, or, we know racing's not cheap to do. So do you have any marketing partners? And if so, do you want to share about them at all?
Definitely. I'm really lucky to have some major sponsors. So Mick Newport Contracting, who's my friend's company, he is the primary sponsor for all of our cars, and he's fantastic. I have acquired VP Racing Fuels Australia. They supply me with my methanol. Their products are amazing. I work with Scorpion Racewear, which is a local Sydney-based racewear SFI certified brand, and he's sort of just a couple years into his journey, but I met with him personally, discussed my suit requirements, because getting in and out of a drag car can be a little interesting, kind of like doing some yoga out here.
Yeah.
And his approach to a race suit is like nothing I've ever seen before, and I've just had my first suit built with him, which is fantastic. I also work with a finance company called Cap Mountain, who are, I guess in their own words, making finance fun. Okay. I love their philosophy and all that they stand for, and they focus on loans specifically targeted to people that are trying to buy first cars or entry into that space, into the automotive space.
Okay.
And I also have a partner with Kicks Heels. She's a local designer from Brisbane who makes high-heeled sneakers, and they are divine. They're so amazing. I've worn them to so many events. They're fantastic, and her design eye is brilliant.
I've not heard of those, but I'm going to have to check those out, and especially to share with some of the people over here, because that sounds very cool.
Oh, I keep telling her that I reckon the US would love these. They're fantastic and so comfy. I actually wear them when I do my dancing as well. They're very versatile.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I do have my own marketing business that I run, which is Built Different Marketing. So I do my own sort of in-house marketing as well to support my partners and support my race brand.
Okay. Well, you've got a good list of sponsors there, so that's good. That always helps for sure.
Definitely.
So you're 29 years old. What do you see for yourself in the future? Do you want to stay in the class you're in? Do you have hopes of doing something different? Do you plan to keep racing as long as you're able or as long as you can afford to, or any of those reasons? What are your plans?
I don't see myself giving this up anytime soon. I think I will fight tooth and nail to make ends meet if it comes to that. I'll happily live out the race car trailer if I really have to. But in terms of my ambitions in the sport, I really am aiming for nitro. I've always been, since I was introduced to drag racing, nitro is just the pinnacle. And the power, the teamwork, the turnaround, the everything that they do. I've been working and helping out for a couple of the nitro teams to get that experience around the car and within the team environment before I step into a seat, hopefully soon. I'm working on it. But nitro is the goal for drag racing, 100%. And funny car, drag star, I'm honestly not phased either way. I just want to be breaking some sound barriers.
Yeah.
And outside of drag racing, my friend as well, Mick Newport, he has acquired a couple of circuit racing vehicles. So we will be entering into circuit racing soon. Okay. We'll be doing the historic touring car series and things like that, which are your old school, very heavy muscle metal old kind of cars, the real, that real grunty era of racing. Yeah. So we'll be racing a few of those.
That sounds kind of fun and way different from the drag car.
Very different. Those corners, first of all, which is I get told all the time, what am I going to do about the corners? I started on corners, so I'm very confident in corners.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be just fine for that. So what has been your biggest challenge as far as becoming a successful race car driver?
Well, it's a huge time and money commitment, obviously. I try through my business and through what I do to contribute as much as I can. And I'm very lucky to have supportive partners as well that work with and sponsors. But yeah, the time is a huge commitment. Previously, I was working a full-time job as a marketing executive for quite a few years while racing. And taking the time off work, particularly around Australia, if you do travel to any other track, it's days of travel and towing a trailer, and then you get there, it's set up, it's running, it's then packing up and driving all the way back. Right. And 2 weeks later, there's another one. So it's a huge time commitment. It's a commitment from other people as well. And the money aspect isn't just obviously owning the car and running the car. There's all of your just consumables for each and every race on top of that. So it definitely adds up, and it definitely takes a village. So I'm lucky to have had an amazing village, but there's been times of struggle where you do have to miss major events. You do have to just step back and take a breather, because that's life.
Well, and you're right in there with everybody else. That's just how it is, unless you are lucky enough to have a huge sponsor that has deep pockets, that can be a challenge every aspect of motorsports, not just drag racing. So
100%.
And then that makes the races that you do go to, I think, mean that much more, because
it does.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, every second.
Yeah. Have you ever felt like you didn't fit in when you first started racing?
There was a bit of a fish out of water feeling when I first got in, because like I said, it was myself and my sister were the first to enter into it with no family background. So we didn't really get the knowledge passed on to us at a young age or anything like that. We came in very fresh, very unaware of what we were signing up for, with big hopes and not a lot of understanding of the rules. So we learned a couple of lessons the hard way, but like I said, the community was amazing at welcoming us in, and we wouldn't be where we were without them today. They really held our hand in the early stages, which was amazing. But it's definitely, you do feel a little like you don't belong at the time. There's a lot of conversations that happen around you that are a little bit beyond your scope at the time, and you're just trying to grab the bits that and piece it all together.
Right.
So I have the most empathy.
Soak up as much as you can from all the people around you.
Exactly, which luckily, particularly in drag racing, which is where I have the most experience, everyone has been so forthcoming with knowledge and willing to share, which makes all the difference.
It does. And I think the motorsports community, 99% of the time, that's how it is. They want you to be involved and they want you to love it just like they do. And so if they're able to share and that is the result, then, they're happy about that for sure.
Exactly.
So do you work on your car at all, or do you, you're not hands-on, or you are hands-on?
Oh, definitely. I love working on the car. And I think for drag racing specifically, I always say to everyone, the actual race is 7 seconds. It's not a lot of track time. You need to love the working on the car part because that's what you're going to do the most of. Mm-hmm. And I'm a fake nails person. I absolutely love my fake nails because my real nails would not survive working on them. But these ones can just stick right back on. So I don't let the vanity stop me.
Yeah.
I love working on the car. There's obviously things I can't do. I am what I would say a self-proclaimed YouTube mechanic in a nice way. I love to try and do everything myself if I can. But particularly when it comes to the race car, there are certain things that I wouldn't take the risk with, like when it's an integral part. But I have changed a diff myself. I broke a diff center, so I've changed a diff center. I've helped pull out transmissions, and I always pull the heads off the car. And I do the routine maintenance after every race as well. And I love to polish the car from back to front to back after every single race. My theory is the cleaner the car looks, and the more beautiful it's going to look on track. But also, the more likely I'm going to be able to see if anything is out of place or if there's any leaks. So it's also functional.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's weeks and weeks of prep for every event. You're always sort of ticking away at it in the background. And then at the track where we're turning over, we're running through things the whole time. We're always checking things. And we hope there's not too many major times that I have to really get my hands dirty because that usually means that something's gone wrong.
But exactly. And we don't want that
to has happened. No.
So what happens when you have a bad day at the track? How do you react to that? How do you deal with it?
I've had a couple bad days, I guess if you could call them bad days. I always say there's no such thing as a bad day at the track. If the car's in one piece and I'm in one piece and everyone else is in one piece,
I agree.
It's a good day. But there's definitely been times where I haven't performed as well or I've had issues with the car. And at the end of the day, that's motorsport. You have to be able to shrug it off. I like to take away, reflect. If it is somewhere where I can improve, I'll work on that. If it's somewhere I can learn, I'll definitely learn from that. But there are just times where things happen. It's outside of our control and it's not a bad day at the end of the day. I'm doing things that I honestly wish everyone could have the chance to experience. So I'm just going to always be grateful for what I have.
Yeah. And that's the thing. When you look around, what you're able to do on the weekends, you're in the minority. And so you're lucky and proud to get to do that.
I always say, like, younger me would have never thought that this is where I would be spending my afternoons and my weekends. Like, I blow my own mind, so I'm never.
That's good. That's a good thing. So you have your own business, and you work on the car, and you have a family, and all the things, that your family you try to stay in touch with, and so how do you take care of yourself? What is your self-care routine?
A lot of exercise. I think exercise is important. Getting in and out of the drag car, like I said, is a bit of a contortionist act. So I do need to be fit, able. I need to make sure I have, a good, stable heart and eyesight and all the rest of it. So we do our due diligence to take care at the track, but also off the track as well, as much as possible. Self-care, I'm very big on. I love a spa night. I will pamper myself regularly. And after a race, I'll often go to, we have soak bath houses around Gold Coast area, which are the warm mineral baths. After racing, I find I'm just covered in bruises. Like where I sit, my legs hang directly over the diff on the diff housing. So even though it's only a couple of seconds, but that force of pushing you back and pushing your legs back into the diff usually will leave me with big black bruises all up the backs of my legs and getting in and out of the car. I'm bruised from one end of my arm to the other. So I use the bathhouses to just revive my muscles and revive my skin and everything after that. I find that makes a huge difference. And I've been doing that for about 1.5 years, 2 years now.
Okay.
But outside of that, it's make sure I spend heaps of time connecting and reconnecting with family, friends, and just things that are good for the soul. I love to hike and dance. I'm not a gym person, so I'll go dancing instead, line dancing or high heels dancing, and keeping a good diet. All of those things. Read a book,
Yeah.
I love it. I'm
all of those
not
things.
great at sitting still.
Okay. Well, I'm not either, so I get that part. So on race day, do you have any routines or superstitions?
Oh, I have a few. Do have a couple, actually. I didn't realize that I did until I reflected back, and I thought, yeah, I do have a couple. One of the biggest ones is I don't drink anything sugary on the day. I don't want reaction times are huge in drag racing. A win or a loss can come down to who has the better reaction time if we're both spot on our dial-ins. So I focus really strongly on hitting the nail on the head every reaction time I have. And to do that, I need to balance my blood sugar as much as possible. So I won't have sugary drinks in the morning. I'll have certain things throughout the day, and I eat certain things throughout the day just to make sure that I'm obviously having enough energy and still well enough to drive, but not making anything go up or down in a crazy fashion. There's no Red Bulls or anything like that.
Yeah.
Keep it all regulated.
Okay.
But outside of that, I have a routine that when I'm sitting in the lanes ready to go, I will always do at least one practice in my head and just eyes closed, sitting there in the car of my launch. The launch is very important to make sure that you nail that, you get that as right as possible. So I do one practice, and if I've done one practice, I feel confident that I'm like, I've got this, the muscle memory's there, let's go do this.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I did that until recently. I got called out on it.
Okay. That's all right. That's all right.
Someone thought I was asleep in the lanes, but I'm sitting there doing my launches.
No, you're not going to be asleep in the lanes. Come on, for sure.
Oh, no, not with all that happening around.
No. So, being involved in motorsports teaches us a lot about life in a lot of ways that maybe other sports don't. Do you think you've had any unexpected things that you've learned or life skills that have come as a part of being involved in motorsports?
Definitely. I mean, patience is probably one of the biggest ones, because motorsport is unpredictable, and no matter how well you turn up or the car turns up on the day, other factors get in the way, and it happens. There's always so many variables. So you learn to be really patient. You also become great at problem solving and quickly, because there are quick turnarounds. There are times where you just have to make quick decisions and problem solve as best you can. So I think that's very character developing as well. So resilience, patience, problem solving, and definitely teamwork too. It takes a village. I can't even start my car on my own, because I have to have someone spray fuel down the trumpets. And the trumpets are all the way over there and the seats all the way over here. So I physically could not run the car on my own. You have to learn to work with a team, and you have to learn different efficiencies and optimizing different people's strengths. So it makes you very aware of the people you have around you and how to optimize the resources that you have in front of you. And get crafty.
And you have to trust them. You have to trust those people that they're going to do the things that are in your best interest, for sure.
Exactly. That they're there for the right reasons as well. And like you said, they have the integrity to do exactly what they've said they've done.
Yeah. So would you encourage other women to get involved in motorsports?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I wish everyone could have the chance to try it, because I feel so many people out there would benefit from it. So many people out there would just, the feeling is so enriching, and it adds this whole new dynamic to your life that you don't have before. I wish more people could have that. But on top of that, it's a brave move. Entering motorsport for anyone is a brave move, and there is a bit of a extra bravery that does come with being a woman. There's a certain element of, I guess, don't get me wrong, it's getting better, but there can be elements of hardship that come from purely just being a woman in there. It builds a thick skin, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. So are you a role model or mentor or anything to anyone that's younger? Has anyone kind of connected with you and had you help them in their journey?
Well, apparently I am, which is amazing. And I remember looking up to these women that used to drive cars when I was a little girl, and now I am that for some women, which is just the craziest experience. But I have had, through my social media, I've always shared my drag racing and just racing in general journey. And I've had a lot of young women reach out to me through their young children who I guess want to enter that channel when they grow up. And I've had some funny messages like, how do I convince my dad? What should I tell him? They're trying to get tips and tricks. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I'm lucky. I was very lucky in the way that I got in, and I recognize that. Yeah. I've also had women from all walks of life message me, and one that particularly stands out to me was very early in my motorsport journey. I'd only just started, and like I said to you, there was a fish out of water moment, and I didn't really feel like I belonged at the time. And I got a random message on my Instagram one day from a woman who'd followed me for a few months, and she said she'd always wanted to go to the drag strip. She had a Camaro, always wanted to go to the drag strip, was too scared to go, didn't have anyone to go with, and she knew she'd have to be there alone as a woman in her own car. And she just decided to go one day. She saw one of my posts, and there was a test and tune the next night. She signed up, went, and she ended up running the actual event on the following day on the Saturday, and she won. And wow. She sent me a message to just say thank you so much. I had no idea at the time, and we still keep in contact to this day. This was years ago. And yeah, that really changed my perspective, that I don't know who I'm touching out there, but right. if it's even just one person, it's worth it.
And that's the thing, especially about social media, both good and bad. We don't know who's watching. And you could have touched a lot more young women, but they don't reach out and tell you. But it only takes that one to reach out, and it just makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it?
It changes your perspective on everything. It really does. I'm lucky now at the track because I have started building a bit of a racing brand around what I'm doing. I thought, why not try to capitalize on this? And if I can get the message out there to more people, 100% I want to. If I can give back to people, I want to. And I have a lot of little fans, I guess we call them. They're all the little kids. They will come see me in the pits. I make little flags printed for them every year with my branding, and I'll sign them. I know as a little kid, I used to love waving flags in the crowd, which is now also a benefit to me as well, because anytime I drive out onto the track, I see little pink in the crowd, and that just warms my heart.
And it's encouraging to you too. So that's awesome for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that part. So if someone wanted to follow you on social media, what's the best place to find you?
I'm active mostly on Instagram and TikTok, which my handle is hey it's Abby Kay, which is OHHEY. It's Abby Kay. And then I also do have a racing YouTube channel, which is Abby Kay Racing. I haven't posted probably for the past year. There's been the last year in racing, we talk about bad days at the track. I had a bit of a year of just bad luck back to back. So there wasn't a whole lot from last year, but I've just reactivated that this year. So I'll be posting a lot more moving forward.
And it's going to be a better year. So you'll have things to post. I'm confident about that.
Exactly. I'm going to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. So Abby, is there anything that I haven't asked you about that we should have discussed? Like do you have a favorite memory, maybe a race that you won or came close to winning, or anything that you want to share?
There was, close to winning. We have Winter Nationals here in Australia, which happens in June every year at Willowbank, which is my home track. So it's particularly special to me. I love seeing people from all around Australia, and occasionally we do get drivers from the US as well come over and compete in the one spot that I love the most. That's very special. And it was the first race that I ever saw as a spectator as well. I went to a Winter Nationals, so it's got a bit of a special place in my heart, and always been one of my dreams to place in that event specifically because it is so competitive. We get in excess of 300 entries usually every year.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, I managed to place 5th, which at the
Wow.
time I didn't realize, but they were actually counting podium from 5th place up for Winter Nationals. Usually I know it's only you get into your finals and then you have your top 2.
Yeah.
But I was very lucky. I just scraped in there.
Good for you. That was exciting.
It was amazing you're fine.
Yeah.
To get through the 3 rounds, to get through the first round, I think had me in tears just to begin with. But then to have a great run, have the crew really just, they turned it on. Everything was amazing. And the run that I didn't make it through, the round that I got knocked out on, was by 0.02 of a second. So it was neck and neck, so close. It was a great race, and it was against one of the other local racers who I absolutely adore. So it was great to see that someone from our local track still went through.
That's exciting. And that's a very good memory to have, isn't it?
It was beautiful. Yeah. It was really great event.
So anything else that you want to share or that we should have talked about that I didn't ask you about?
I guess one of my missions, I guess, that I want to be sharing with the world, and particularly with women, is I'm trying to lead by example to show that femininity doesn't have to be and shouldn't ever be a weakness in motorsport or something that we feel we have to hide to fit in. Mm-hmm. I am very much a feminine woman. I love my vanity. I love my fake nails. I love going out with the girls and all of your, I guess, stereotypical little girly things that we love to do. And it doesn't make me any less valid in the industry. It doesn't mean that I have to turn any of that off when I'm at the racetrack as well. I want to really harness that femininity is not a weakness, it's a strength. It's a strength, it's character building, it's unique and it's beautiful. And we don't need to conform to, I guess, it's always been a male-dominated sport up until this point. It's very quickly changing, which is amazing to see. Uh-huh. But femininity is something that should be celebrated and encouraged in the sport. I
love that.
It's a beautiful thing.
I love that. I love that you shared that because I don't hear that enough. Yeah. You don't have to change who you are to be successful in motorsports.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a box. We don't have to fit into a particular mold or a particular box. No. You like what you like and you are still a person outside of what you do. 100% racing is a huge part of my identity. But outside of that, I'm a sister, a daughter, a friend, everything. And I'm also a woman that absolutely loves the joys of being a woman.
Right.
And I want that to be who I am.
Yeah. I love that, Abby. Thank you for sharing that for sure.
Thank you.
So anything else at all that we need to talk about or share before we hang up today?
Not that I can think of. I'm just really thankful for this opportunity to share and to meet you as well. I really appreciate what you're doing for women in motorsport.
Thank you so much. And I love being able to talk to women, well, all over the world, but it's nice that we can communicate easily, even though you're in Australia and I'm in the United States in Michigan, and it makes it so fun that we can stay connected through motorsports like this.
It does. It's amazing. And this is part of the community that I'm talking about. It's not just in your local area. It's not just in your country. It's everywhere. And you can really see that I think women are making leaps and bounds in coming together.
They really are, for sure.
It's a good time to be alive.
It is a good time to be alive and a good time to be a woman in motorsports. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Abby, for being on with me today. I just really appreciate you taking time, and hopefully we'll stay in touch.
Definitely will. If I come to Michigan, I'll let you know.
Absolutely. I have a great drag strip not far from my house, so about a half hour, if not even less.
Oh, you've sold me.
Yeah.
Sold.
So definitely want to know for sure.
Sounds amazing.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind the scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.